Hey everybody, how are you? This is video 6 coming at you. Hope you enjoy it. Talk to you after the video.
They'll be here for a reason. This spot, I've seen them here at multiple times of the year. Early season is always good because of the acorns. You know, when you're on the edge of a big acorn plot like this. But I've seen them here at different times of the year, but they'll be here for a week or so and then leave. So the trick is really hitting it when the sign's fresh. It's seasonal. What you do see is most of these spots have a timing to them. I mean, you come in here and you see, if you guys were paying attention, there's a pretty good rub line coming out of here. There's probably like about a 1 week period when those rubs are put there where there's a buck bedding here. So you got to hit it when they're here. So I'm trying to hit it when the sign's fresh. You go up to that rub, it's tacky, it's sticky, it's been rubbed recently. The tracks look fresh, there's fresh droppings on the ground. That's when I want to sit here. You know, the primary bedding will have bucks in here all year, all the time. This stuff is hit or miss, but your timing can get it down. And once you learn that timing, then you can start hunting it on a regular basis. Like if you start to learn that, for whatever reason, the first week of October is the time to be here, that's when you had action here, and you keep track of that. Pretty good bet the next year it'll be the same time frame.
When you're scouting on your way in, how do you know where to stop when, you know, say there's a good sign here? Did you already go too far, or how do you know when?
Well, I'm probably cutting the corner up the top there, top of the hill. If I see rubs and tracks coming out, and sometimes it's not rubs, you know, this soil's pretty soft. Sometimes you see some really big tracks coming out and there are no rubs and you set up anyways. But I'm going to see some sign back there before I get in here where I'm going to kick the deer or I'm going to burn the spot out. Just cutting that corner up there, I mean, might put them on edge for a day or two, but really ain't going to be like I walk down here or something, right? So I'm just going to walk this perimeter inside the woods and try to pick up good sign. And if I don't, I'm going to go to my destination I had in mind.
When you're coming into an island like this and you're walking in, you're seeing the rub lines and everything, how close to the edge that you're intending to hunt are you walking? Because you said you're not going up in the timber, but is that you're physically not going up in there, or that's just not where your attention is?
I'm probably, I can't put a number on that, but what I'm doing is I'm trying to take a educated guess on how far those deer can hear, see, and smell. Okay. And I'm staying back that far. And that might mean that in this area where I don't expect rubs, I'm right next to the edge of the marsh, zooming. Okay. But when I get into this point area, I might be back 100 yards or so, cutting the corner and looking to see if there's any rubs or tracks coming out of here. But it's going to vary from spot to spot. Okay. And it's going to be based on what I believe I can get away with. Obviously, the closer I am, the more I'm going to see concentrated sign, the better it's going to be for me to determine if there's something in there. But it's not really something I can put a number on.
And you don't feel like they're being kicked out of here if you're up on the top, up in the woods area, you're 100 yards, you're walking that. As long as you don't come in here, they're going to still stay put. Right.
I think the mature bucks are, because they're going to be bedded under these trees. But I could kick does and stuff out that will be bedded around where we're standing. That's just something you got to live with. Like I said before, if you're not jumping a few deer, you're probably not getting close enough.
You ever jump doe in that kind of situation where they're in here, you jump them and the buck's still there and stays there?
Yeah, I've had them where I thought there was no way I was killing a deer because I busted a whole bunch of deer through a bedding area and killed a real good 10-pointer once. Okay. He got up right where all those deer ran, just waltzed right in.
But how much time elapsed between when the does ran and when he got up and walked to you?
Can you speak up a little?
How much time elapsed from when the does ran over him to when he got up and walked to you?
Oh, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours.
So you were set up and you were quiet and not moving for 2 hours before he walked to you.
Yep. You know, you got to think of it too, like, did you ever, I bet everybody here has, you get in a tree and you're thinking about where that deer is going to come from, or that buck, and you're sitting there and you hear him break a branch, and you're like, that's a buck. I know it. I know, or that's a deer for sure, right? It's a big animal. I know that's a deer. it's coming down the trail. It's going to walk out, and you get ready for your shot, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and nothing ever comes. Not another sound, nothing. And you're sitting there for a while, and pretty soon you go back to your seat, but you're staring that direction. After a while, you're looking around and you're thinking, is it over there? And after a while, you're disappointed as, well, it's a squirrel or my imagination, maybe a branch fell, maybe a bird landed on something or whatever. And that buck's in that bedding area, he hears that branch break, or something runs by him or something, he gets freaky, and he's looking. He's paying real close attention. At that point, I'm just standing out there just letting it settle down for a while. Because if you're moving, he's gonna spot you or whatever. And then after it settles down, you can start slipping up the tree, and that buck's gonna sit there and go, there's danger over there, there's danger over there. And after half an hour, he's back to rested, but he's paying attention over there. After an hour, he's pretty much forgotten about it. Pretty much like us, because there's stuff happening in the woods. Deer are running around. I think what's worse than deer running by that deer is probably when everything goes dead silent. Because there's only one time that happens. Well, 2 times maybe, when a pack of coyotes comes through or a human comes through. Otherwise, these woods are pretty noisy. But when we come into the area, everything gets quiet, and I think that's more alarming to a deer than the occasional noise, as long as you're not making metal noise. All right, let's move to the next spot. Water back there, that whole distance, no sign coming off, no features. It's actually good when you got limited features, you know where the bucks are going to be, right? So, I mean, sometimes you get into swamps that got so much for features that really you don't know where to begin. Sometimes you're better off looking someplace else. Sometimes you can't because it's the best swamp around and there's nothing else around for you. Then you have to just kind of narrow down where the bucks are because they'll be in certain features in there. This is one of the better spots on this island, is this point that comes off of here. It's hard to see with the naked eye, but if you look on your phone, that sticks out like you can't miss it. It's a real well-defined point. It narrows down to a point going off like this. And I'm sure some of you noticed some of the rubs as we start getting closer to this. What I do is, there's a lot of people walk dogs or just go out for a walk or whatever, and they do the perimeter of the island. This is about where they walk. I do the same thing. I come through here and go into a spot, and I'll look and see how the rubs are looking and decide if I want to hunt or not. And this spot's produced some pretty big bucks over the years. And you probably noticed how high that one rub we went past was. And if you look around, there's a lot of old scarred rubs. This is another one of the spots that, just by nature of the Oak Island here, is really good early season. But you can have deer off this point at any time of the year. But this is generally where they're bedded. If anybody's seen anything daylight on this island, they're coming out of here. They're coming right up this finger onto here. So I'm narrowing it down and getting close to where they're coming from.
So this would be primary bedding?
This is not primary bedding, it's more seasonal, but it's more the better bedding that is adjacent to this island. It's way better than the 2 spots we just looked at.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we are going to look at primary bedding, and that's going to be on that island that's out there. That's going to be the last spot we go to. There's usually something big out there, if it doesn't get harassed. Every now and then I'll have somebody move in with a boat and start hunting that, and it'll go dead until they leave. And sometimes it takes a year or 2 for the deer to come back. So if there's no questions, we'll walk down, we'll look at this bedding. The bedding doesn't look as good as it's looked in past years, but you can still see it. There's nothing tapering down into the cattails. The point drops right off into water, or it probably would have been primary bedding. But generally, early season, at some point, if there's acorns up here, there's usually something halfway decent hunting there, or I mean bedding there. Now I don't get out here a lot because I've got other spots, other bucks I'm chasing and stuff, so I probably hunt this every 2-3 years. I haven't hunted in a couple of years, but I put Mario out here not too long ago, and I think he had a deer get up, and this is one of those spots where you're going to notice the oak tree is right over the last oak is right over the bedding. You can't get up to it, and the bucks he had come out of there got up to that oak tree and then didn't come underneath him till after shooting hours, so he didn't get a shot, but they came through. He could just sit back and watch them.
Does this area get a lot of pressure, like public pressure down in here?
Everybody's up in there.
Yeah.
I don't see too many people on the points and stuff. I don't think people, I don't think local people have clued into that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of odd because right in this area, I've probably sold 30,000 of those marsh bedding videos.
Yeah.
People just aren't willing to work for it? Or?
Right.
Yeah.
They like the videos, but they don't like doing the work.
Yeah. Keep selling.
Yeah.
So this is right where they bed. You can see, like, here's a fresh rub, but it's small. It's either a year and a half or 2.5. You see the old scarred rubs from past years. Usually this is a lot more tore up. Every place there's like a hole where there's no vegetation is a bed. This is higher grass that they lay in right here. The last few years, that bush there, that's next to that bigger tree, right underneath that bush has been the better buck. It's probably the same buck each year, but that's been getting torn up quite a bit in the early season. And there's bedding right underneath it. So again, it's a typical point. You're looking at the land feature. So let's look at the bedding. We'll slide through here. And I noticed last week that buck's rubs are back into that tree. So he's back again this year. We'll look back and we'll go back and see how close we set up. And then we'll go out and check out the primary bedding. Okay. So all these little holes here are beds. And you see the old scarring on the trees, the years of it. This is always beds right in here. There's always like a little cave bed right here the last couple of years where they kind of get under the stuff. They like to be in shade. Right now it's exposed here. So then there's a bed right here, and there's a bed under this tree. You can see the rubs, they're kind of dull right now, but you see where he was rubbing in there. Right there. Yeah, here's the bed I was talking about over here. So this is the trail they usually exit on right here. Yep.
You just got up and hung out right there for a while?
Yep.
It's not fair. You're saying if there were like trees out into the swamp a little more, it could be a good spot for primary bedding?
Yeah, if there's a little more cover out there, if they could hold a little more deer,
Yep.
I think it would be primary. It does lay out for the wrong wind though.
Yeah.
All right, so as you can see, that this is the spot I was talking about where the oaks are right on top of the bedding. And we've had a couple of occasions where the bucks get up and eat acorns and never come here. This is generally about where I set up. It's where the cover opens up where I can shoot without cutting anything. And it's as close as I can get. And it's actually pretty close to that bedding area. I mean, what are we, 60 yards, maybe? I tend to like to set up on this side because we get a pretty good thermal pull when it gets calmed onto the water. And if you're up higher, I think they could bust you, especially if something comes out you don't want to shoot first. But I like these trees off to the side, these bigger trees. I like to try and get closer to the swamp because I don't like being right underneath them, or having them right underneath me. Bad shot angle. So the smaller trees that are back in towards the swamp is what I like. I think Mario actually hunted out of that big tree. But I can shoot all the way across the island again here, or the point. So any deer that comes out I could possibly kill. And you know, if the wind's wrong, I have to get on that side. But there's plenty of trees here in this little natural opening. So you know, big takeaway again is we're just following that transition, finding these points. And it might be a little repetitive, but it should sink in. I mean, where am I seeing all these bucks that I'm seeing out here? And every one of these points we've been to, I've had interactions with big bucks. So the last thing I want to do is show you a primary bedding area. The primary bedding areas usually have more bedding. Like, see how small that is? You know, for it to be primary, usually it needs a bigger area where it can hold more deer, be variable for winds, that kind of thing. And that island has that. And generally, if I go out there anytime other than when it freezes up, there's something living out there. There's somebody hanging there.
Is this about where the doe would bed in this area then?
Yeah, usually when I kick them up, they're underneath those oak trees, but they're not far from the bucks.
Sure.
But I could see that. I could see them out here.
Okay.
If I didn't know the area, I'd say you're correct.
Sure.
But knowing the area, I've kicked them a little further up.
When you go to an initial area, say like you're okay, I'm gonna hunt this spot on public, I've never, you know, say you've hunted it, but you never really hunted it this way. To dial in like these areas, you look at a like Google Maps and go, okay, there's kind of a point here. You just kind of walk up to that area and you're looking, the sign as you're going to that area and stuff to kind of get an idea where to go on. Or?
Yeah, on Google Earth, you can usually see, if it's cattails, you can see these points really well. If it's like tamaracks or dogwood or something, sometimes they can blend in with the trees and it's hard to see.
What's like
And
if kind of put it in perspective, like area, like we hunt like the Marsh up kind of like Black River State Forest area. What kind of swamp area is that? I know there's not a lot of cattails.
Yeah, you probably got sawgrass and dogwood and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Sawgrass doesn't work as good as cattails because it's so low.
Okay.
But same thing, look for those features. Look for those little islands. If you can find something that's actually in water, I hunt Black River Falls myself, and one of my best areas is like to follow the creeks and find those drainages that come in and are packed with a thick dogwood, and it acts like the cattails. And you get a little point going into that dogwood or small brush. You know, you just got to correlate it as that thick cover being what the cattails are. I think a lot of guys get the mistake that they think that the big bucks are in the middle of thick cover. When they can be, if it has the right features or they need to be, but generally they're on the edges of it. And the same thing, whether it's cattails or dogwoods or... Same idea, correct. It's just going to be harder to see with your eyes visually or on a map. Sometimes you can make it on a map, especially if you go on Google Earth in the history. If you hit the right months when hardwood trees are a certain color and the tamaracks are a different color, the points will stick out like you wouldn't believe. But you got to dig through all those historical images until you find the right one.
If you were to access, you know, a hunting area like this, would you come in kind of that same way that we kind of came in? Or
Maybe.
depends on the wind, obviously.
I come in a little different every time. Depends on the wind, and it depends on where I think there might be bucks bedding. But that's a typical way I'd come back here, just to see, even though it's a way longer way than walking across the hill, just to see if there's something bedding over there to go after. You know, and I guess it depends on if I'm running late, maybe I won't do my scouting coming in here. If I, you know, I had to work till 4 or something and I'm flying out here to get a, you know, hour hunting or something. But I'd like to get out here early enough to scout a section, get out, and then I know pretty much what's going on. If I come all the way out here and I haven't hit any big buck sign, there's no big buck sign out here, I might as well just, you know, hunt that night, get it over with, and then move on to the next next property.
So you can't prep any of the trees that you hang over here, right?
Legally you can't.
So like on your, let's say you have a private piece you hunt, when do you stop, or like when do you stay out? Like when do you cut your stuff and then just not go in there until it's time to kill?
If I had to cut stuff, I'd do it about this time of the year.
Okay.
My problem with that is if you're hunting like this manner, I might be in this tree, but I might be in that tree.
Depends on the day. And
Yeah.
the wind.
And you might get back here and you're expecting to be here because that's the sign right now. And next year they come out a little different. And for whatever reason, they're coming out over there and you need to move over there. So, I mean, there's certain places where you're going to be in the same tree every time because of some features. But in a lot of cases like this, I'm shifting around. I'm not in the same tree. I move around every time I come out.
But you're always hitting the edge so the thermal takes you to the water, descent to the water.
I like to hear, yeah. Here I would much rather be on this edge because I notice when it calms, I get a pull like this. So if I'm in one of these middle trees to cover this whole area, I notice a tendency, and the wind's blowing this way, it gets calm and all of a sudden it's floating down here and you know, something comes out and smells you, you know. So I'd rather be right on the edge.
Okay.
Then if I come in on the edge and I know I'm going to be on the edge, I like to follow the edge. So I don't walk out here, deer comes out, smells where I walked, spooks. It gives you more of a chance of not getting something, you know.
How fine do you play the wind? Like if you know there's a big one back here, it's a hot sign, you want to get on it, the wind's not ideal, will you play like a real tight crosswind? Or you just stay out of that until you have a better wind?
I won't take chances if I think the wind's going to get to them. But I hunt just off winds all the time. I mean, the wind blowing like this to them, I could, you know, like this, I can get over one of these trees, no problem. It'll blow it over to cattails, you know. But if it's blowing straight up the point, I don't think I can get away with going over to that end and not having it at least swirl over there once, you know. But if it's blowing over an open area and it's blowing on an angle like this, sure, I'll hunt it. Then you just got to be careful of how you access, that you don't walk upwind of it before you get to it. All right, so we're going to walk out to that island. This is where we're going to have to navigate through the cattails off one of those trails that's been there forever. And normally where we're walking, if you walked in the center, there'd be spots you'd be up to your waist. But I can stay relatively dry by duck walking, but I'm generally wet before I get out there.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that one. There'll be one more, number 7, and then the last videos will be on the questions and answers and what we learned at the end. So I hope you've enjoyed this series. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you'll know when the next one comes out. See you guys later. Bye-bye.